Hi, everybody, and welcome to our presentation on self-care during times of stress. I'm Julie Vargas. I'm a wellness consultant with the Best Health Team and Sharp Health Plan, and this is Caitlyn.
Hi, everybody. I'm Caitlyn Gajo. I'm with the Sharp Health Plan and the Best Health Team as well. I'm a wellness coordinator here. We're happy to be here.
We're excited today to talk to you about self-care during this very unique time of COVID-19. So what our focus today is going to be on is really focusing on why time is particularly stressful and what makes it so unique, some self-care strategies to cope with COVID-19, and then specifically some stay-at-home orders and strategies from working home effectively and making tangible goals. And then we're going to hop into some mindfulness practices just so that you have some things in your toolbox to really set yourself up for success when you're feeling like you're really stressed. And then we have some virtual resources for you as well. So to start, what makes these times particularly stressful? There's a lot of things. We're all living our lives in very, very unique ways. And, you know, I will say that as we are all experiencing this pandemic together, this is, none of us have lived through a pandemic before, but we need to really focus on what about this is stressful and then use some of the techniques that we know from stress management and really working to reduce that to bring us to a better place. So first off, fear, feeling disconnected from family and friends, being uncertain about the future, financial troubles, all of these things really give us a lot of stress. And some of these are internal stressors, while some of them are external stressors. Internal stressors are often the way we think about things, the way we feel about things. But the external stressors, like the pandemic, like changes in routine, these are things that are outside of our control. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about coping mechanisms and how we deal with those fears as we move forward. So where do we begin? You know, so we generally, when we talk about stress in other presentations before the pandemic, we usually use this stress quiz to just get a good feeling about where we're at and what kind of support we have. So this was our usual stress quiz. It was adapted to fit these times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through these statements. And what I want you to do is think about whether these statements are true for you or not. So to start, I have people I can reach out to for support right now when I'm feeling upset or overwhelmed. The second, I feel comfortable expressing how I feel when something is bothering me. I find reasons to laugh and feel grateful even when going through difficulties. At a time when we are all building new routines, I am making it a priority to sleep, exercise, and eat right. And lastly, I'm able to calm myself down when I start to feel overwhelmed. So really think about your responses to those questions. Are they true for you or no? And so what we want to really focus on is how to deal with those no responses, because those are the really big red flag things that we need to start building our capacity to support those stressful times. So as we move through these next slides, these are the 6 strategies that we're going to be focusing on that can really help you with those no responses.
So one of the first self-care strategies during COVID-19 is staying connected while social distancing, or I guess it's physical distancing because we still want to stay social with everyone. But we are not, humans are not meant to be in isolation. We really need to be connected with others. So this is such a great time to take advantage of the virtual world and spend time with our friends, family, and coworkers, either virtual lunches, coffee breaks, happy hours. I know we've done that a couple times with our team. Trivia games are always really fun to do virtually. There's a couple apps that we've used, the House Party and Jackbox.tv are really fun. And then sending a thoughtful text, email, even mailing a card, decorating something for somebody and dropping it off, sending meals, delivering groceries, flowers, just fun things like that, thinking outside the box where we can still stay connected with each other. And then also continue virtually attending your groups, your church groups, your yoga classes, exercise classes, a lot of book clubs, things like that. Everybody is kind of transitioning to virtual spaces. So continue those things. That's super important right now. Another strategy is to get moving. We want to stay up with our physical activity, as well as maybe starting something now that we may have a little bit extra time in the morning or in the evening. So don't let those stay-at-home orders mean like you can't make time for exercise. Any physical activity can help relieve the stress. It helps with your anger, frustration, any overwhelming feelings that you're having throughout the day with a lot of work. Maybe your family's home, or your friends, or your roommates are home. Everybody's all in one space, so it can get really overwhelming. So that physical activity releases endorphins that help increase your mood. And even if you don't have that 30-minute period to do the activity in, maybe you can break it up into 3 10-minute spaces. So maybe 2 10-minute lunch breaks or breaks for walks, and then another 10 minutes of crunches or something else that you could do that can increase to that 30 minutes. And virtual workouts are great too. A lot of trainers and group exercise instructors are posting their workouts through Zoom or other online portals. And then also we have a great resource that you guys can utilize through Sharp Health Plan called Studio Sweat on Demand. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's just a great kind of like a Netflix resource for workouts. So you can just watch somebody and a group exercising like you would, like if you would be there, and then you can choose what types of exercises you want. So it's really great.
It's a cool resource. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end.
Yeah, definitely. Another great self-care strategy is practicing gratitude and compassion. This is really important right now, especially since a lot of us are at home and isolated and not feeling very grateful. But if we practice gratitude and compassion, these things can help reduce our anxiety and depression. So focusing on the positive can make you a little bit more calm and compassionate. A lot of tools are like journaling, meditation. So writing down things that you're grateful for, meditating on those things that you're grateful for, showing yourself and others kindness and compassion. A couple of the things that we talked about earlier, like sending meals, dropping off groceries, that helps a lot with your own self-compassion when you give to others. And then another one that I always say for a self-compassion check-in would be the 3 H's. So checking your head, your heart, and your health. And then you can ask others those questions too. It's just a way to think about compassion on yourself and for others.
Love that. So in addition to some of these self-care strategies, we also want to just make sure that we're making time to have fun and relax, because a lot of us are taking on a lot more than we normally do. You know, maybe you're having to teach your kids now, or they're home and you're lacking childcare. It's sometimes hard to shift your work into a work from home space if you haven't done that before. So we're taking on a lot of things, and then that combined with the fact that, you know, there's a lot of negative news stories that are being covered, and a lot of things that are just going on that are really stressful in the world. We need to make sure that we're just kind of cutting ourselves off from that a bit when we need to, and do things like going for a walk, playing a game, or playing with your pet. Just like let yourself have that fun, that because it's really important to just give ourselves that space. So I don't know, Caitlyn, what are some of your fun quarantine activity ideas?
Yeah, I think one of them is just we're definitely utilizing our backyard a lot more. And we actually just got a blow up pool, which has been really fun, and like the whole family can fit in it. So that's really great. We also built like a sandbox this weekend. So that was really fun. Just, you know, trying to be like a kid again, getting that recreation time in with the family.
Yeah, that's super fun. We've been doing a lot of outside activities, and I've actually taken up watercolor painting just for a fun side project, and it's been really fun. It's just a really good way to disconnect and really kind of find that space for self-care.
Great.
So we want to make sure that with all of the things that are happening, that we stick to healthy habits. And I know sometimes this can be a little bit hard, especially given stay-at-home orders and less frequent trips to the grocery store. But having good nutrition and making sure that we're getting enough sleep, good healthy lifestyle habits are really going to help us physiologically not be as stressed. So making sure that you're limiting those unhealthy habits. It can be easy to reach for a tub of ice cream or a glass of Chardonnay when you're feeling like you're struggling, but physiologically, this is going to make stress much worse. So it's important to just realize this and actively make the effort to choose the healthier stress relieving behavior, because you're going to be less stressed in the long run. And then lastly, the sixth strategy is just building resiliency. So resiliency is really about drawing on our ability to get through a difficult time. And sometimes it can help to think about a time that you've gotten through in the past that that you went through and got through, and kind of think about how you did that. But I love this quote. So I'm going to read, a crisis often brings out the best in you, and you discover the qualities that you never knew existed within. And I love that in the context of building resiliency, because we talk about a lot of these ideas that are big ideas, self-compassion, gratitude practices. But what they really do is they help us get through a difficult time. So one of the things I just want to also point out on this list is reframing. So it's easy sometimes to get caught up in, oh my gosh, my life has changed, I have to stay home now. And it can be really frustrating and sometimes really stressful to think about all of the things that we're doing that are different in our lives, that are affecting our day to day. And when I get really caught up in that, I try to just remember what we're doing for the greater good of humanity. And staying home is actually saving lives. We are all in this together, and I mean all of us across the planet, which is just really a humbling idea. I think that we're involved in this all together. So it can help to kind of reframe these ideas when you do get frustrated. And again, consciously connecting, we've mentioned, and just redefining your meaning and your purpose and helping others is really important to building that resiliency.
Yeah, that's great. And some additional tips for coping with stay-at-home orders. I love this picture because it looks like our household right now. So yes, we're going to talk about working from home strategies. I know a lot of us are working from home. Our whole entire family, our roommates are working from home together. It's just our new normal now. So the biggest thing I think is definitely to create a routine, to set that schedule for waking up, for your meals, for your bedtime, just keeping that consistent. And then making sure you're just having like a beginning, a middle, and an end of the day. Don't force yourself to do something for 1 hour straight, or for the kids to have to do something for 9 to 10 and then 10 to 11. Just making sure that give yourself some grace during that time, even though it is nice to have a schedule, but just keep that more of a loose schedule, I would say. And then also making sure you're getting dressed as though you're meeting people outside. So you're looking nice and not wearing your sweatpants all day. And then dividing your workspace, make sure you're having good lighting, Wi-Fi strength, and also like the comfortable environment to work in, especially with your chair, your ergonomics of the chair, and making sure, it looks nice, having a plant or a flower at your desk. And then lastly, creating boundaries with your work space and your relaxing space. So making sure you're taking your lunch in the kitchen and or your outside space, and having your work at your desk. And then transitioning routines, making sure to give yourself pause from when you're moving from one set of work to another. So this is not the time to be taking on lots of projects and lots of multitasking at work, since there already may be a lot more distractions in your home, with kids and trying to help them with their homework, or roommates and things like that. Also stretching more often. We are probably crammed right now a little bit. I know my husband and I are working in one office, so that's been tough for us. So we're just taking a lot more time to stretch and get that blood flow going. And then just making sure we're increasing that time, having that time to exercise, and also ending our time with some catching up with friends and family, like we talked about with connecting. So, and then lastly, balancing our work and family at home. So we want to make sure we're setting boundaries with our family members when we need to get something done. So, you know, planning your week out with your family, your partners, your roommates, making sure you have those times, like you have a conference call, okay, I'll be over here while you're doing that. Having a little sign on the door, don't come in until 1 o'clock whenever I'm done. Just having those boundaries, and then also loosening up screen time limits. I know we always like get so worried about our kids watching too much TV, but this is the time to give ourselves some love and grace during this time of COVID-19, and forgiving yourself for imperfections and feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough as a mom or a dad or a friend or whatever. Just giving yourself some forgiveness, and also setting realistic goals during this time. And I know Julie's going to talk more about that.
Yeah. So when we talk about making goals, we like to call goals SMART goals and use this acronym. You know, it can sometimes be hard for some of us. We don't feel like we have extra time right now. We're taking on a lot, but others have actually a little bit more time because maybe your commute is now non-existent, or you know, you don't have the family responsibilities that others might have. So it can be good sometimes to create a good goal that you will stick to. It's not the time right now to do a DIY remodel to your kitchen, but doing something that is tangible, that you can really focus on, can be a really good way to kind of decrease your stress, and then have something that you look back on and realize, wow, I did that. So when we talk about SMART goals, just make sure that anything that you take on is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time limited. So maybe you want to start reading more through the pandemic. That might be a great goal, but it's a little vague. So if you give yourself, I want to read 2 books by the end of the month, that would be something that's much more specific and maybe attainable and realistic for you. I'm a slow reader, so I'm not sure it would be realistic for me, but if it is for you, that would be a good example of something that you could really get to actually accomplish, and something that's measurable. So just keep that in mind when you're making goals, because we also don't want to be taking on too much. It can add to our stress during these
Right.
types of times. So just use this if you decide to make a goal for yourself. So now we're going to move into a little bit of practice. This is a mindfulness exercise, and you can use this anytime you really start to feel like lost and just stressed and need a moment to yourself. So we're going to play this video and sit here along with you and do it with you, and just take this moment together to really stop and breathe.
Mindful breathing. Close your eyes and rest your hands on your knees. Bring your attention to the touch of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your body on your chair or cushion. Make sure that your back is straight and that you're comfortable. Take a few deep breaths. While you're breathing deeply, relax your shoulders, your stomach muscles, the muscles in your face, your hands, and your legs. Let go of all the tightness in your body. Now bring your attention back to your breath. Notice what it feels like as it enters through your nose, goes down through your throat, filling your lung, and back out through your nose. Notice your stomach and chest rise and fall each time you breathe in and each time you breathe out. And just allow your breathing to be natural and relaxed. Now bring your attention to the feeling of your breath in your nose. Feel your breath as it comes in and goes out. Just focus on this sensation, paying attention to each time you breathe in and each time you breathe out. As you inhale, maybe your breath feels cool. And as you exhale, maybe it feels a little warmer. When your mind wanders, or if you become distracted, just notice what's going on in your head, and then gently bring your attention back to your breath, going in and out. Focus on the feeling of your breath and allow thoughts and feelings to come and go in the background. Now gently bring your attention back to the touch of your body on your seat and open your eyes.
Great. Well, we hope that that exercise really helped everybody just kind of relax and decompress. And it's amazing how just 3 minutes can really do that for ourselves.
Yeah, and that comes from a mindfulness practice called STOP, with the acronym STOP. So stop, take a breath, observe, and proceed. So that's just something you can use in everyday life. Like if you're just getting overwhelmed, that's a great thing to do. So
Awesome. And we have a couple more exercises that we'll share with you just so that you have some more tools.
yeah, and one of the mindfulness activities is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And mindfulness is just where this brings you back into the present and into your body. So that was one of the mindfulness practices we just did with the breathing. This is another one. Just finding 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So that just brings into the things that are true and right at this moment. Another one is a compassion mindfulness activity. So where you would be sharing compassion with yourself and the world. And something you can do is just repeating a phrase, may I be safe, may I be calm, may I have peace. And you can repeat that for your friends, your family, your communities, your city, and naming people as well. And this can happen while you're washing your hands or doing the dishes, just 20 or 30 seconds at a time.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
So in addition to these practices, we have some resources listed out here for you today. Some of them are things that we do on our team, but other things are just resources that have been passed along to us from being in the wellness space. So Best Health offers health coaching. I'll go into that in more detail in just a second. But we also have a lot of great resources on our portal. Online wellness workshops with various topics can really help you explore a lot of health issues right now and make sure that you're staying healthy and not stressed. And then also we mentioned Studio Sweat on Demand. And like we said, it's virtual workouts that are offered at a discounted price for our Best Health members. And this can be a really, really great way to get connected with your physical activity routine and just feel like you're actually in a gym. So it's a good, with very little equipment if you don't have it. So that can be a cool thing to try out. And then as far as podcasts or apps, these 2 at the top, The Science of Happiness and the Happiness Lab, both of those are podcasts that explore scientific research on happiness. So I sometimes think, the more you know about a topic like happiness, it really helps you kind of realize how you can become happier, and it can really help you get in a better space. So those could be 2 cool ones to try out. And then the little friendly dog at the bottom there, he is from the Down Dog app. And that's another one that's been really cool. I know Caitlyn and I and the team have been trying this one out, but they have all sorts of different workouts from for yoga. They have HIIT, bar. They have 7-minute workouts on all sorts of different things, and you can kind of customize it to how much time you have too, which is really cool. So anyway, they have a free trial of that available for educators and those in the healthcare sector. So if you fall into one of those sectors, we have that listed in our resources as well. And then some great websites, the Greater Good Science Center. Calm is an app, but they also have a website where they've got some really, really great resources listed on there. And then WellCOA is the Wellness Council of America, and they're kind of our go-to for a lot of really great wellness information, and they've got a really good package for COVID-19 resources. So those are some things you might want to check out if you're feeling like you need a little extra support, or maybe you're an employer and you want to support your employees. These can all be really good resources to send out. And then just to go into a little bit more depth on our coaching program. So we have over the phone coaches, and it's a no-cost 6-week program where you work with a coach, same coach every week. You really get to know that coach. And this is a goal-oriented program, kind of using the same types of SMART goals that we talked about before. And coaches aren't people who are going to come in and say, this is what you need to do to be healthy, or let me tell you how you need to de-stress. What they do is they take your goals. What do you want to do? And they help you find the barriers and challenges that maybe have prevented you from getting there in the past. So they can just be a really, really helpful resource. It's evidence-based. And they cover a wide variety of topics, anything from weight management, tobacco cessation, nutrition, exercise, and stress. So if you want to reach out to that team and get started, this might be a really great opportunity to do so. So we'll close out here with a quote.
Self-care is never a selfish act. It is simply good stewardship of the only gift I have, the gift I was put on earth to offer others. Anytime we can listen to true self and give the care it requires, we do it not only for ourselves, but for the many others whose lives we touch. Parker Palmer.
I love that. It's so
Yeah.
true. This is just a space where we all really need to give ourselves some care and some time. There's a lot going on in the world, and we're all dealing with it together, but we hope that these resources and information can kind of help draw on some of your own abilities to deal with this. So we hope all of you are staying well. This is our team. So from us to you, stay healthy, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, guys.